Tarot. This is part 2 of Super Read Saturday. We are going to look at the real estate markets for 2025 in just a second. Be right back. Welcome to my channel. I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner for over 35 years. In this video, we are going to take a look at the real estate market for 2025 with the effects of Hurricane Helene on Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, the wildfires in California. We've had devastating losses of primary residences, homes, businesses, all sorts of stuff. This is going to have an effect on the real estate market locally and probably in the macro. So we're going to take a look at how all of this is going to affect the real estate markets, both in those areas and in the United States overall. So I do want a disclaimer. I am not a real estate agent. I am not a real estate broker. I am not an investment broker or an investment person, money manager. So do your own research. Make sure that you contact your own professionals. Like I said in the first video today, if you had a root canal that needed to be done, you wouldn't call a cobbler. So take this as some information, but do your own research, talk to your professionals, and see what's right for you. That being said, we're going to take a look at how things are going to shake out. There was a devastating loss of homes and property in all of the events. Hurricane interest in conversion. Maybe we move some of those people in there. Maybe some of those houses get moved around, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to look quarter by quarter, just like we did in the stock market video that I did. And if you didn't see that yet, maybe take a look up there. I'll see if I can put a link right there. I know I'm getting good at this YouTube thing. So tech is something I love. It's not my strong suit right away. So I have to learn how to get used to it. So let's bring up the card view. We'll also do a little bonus thing with Gavin Newsom and his crazy little dance he did when talking about speculators that may be coming in to talk about properties. We've already had Donald Trump on ground there talking with Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. Karen Bass, I think she's on her way out. I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but we'll do like a little bonus question about him. So let's bring up the card view. Before I do that, please like, share, and subscribe and get your own magical reading with me at the link below. I have lots of fun sales for the end of January, beginning of February. You guys can get awesome readings, awesome advice at a discounted rate. So I hope to see some of you on my schedule. Let's get this view up, guys. I hope you're having a fantastic day. So let's get going on this. So overall, real estate markets in the United States, things haven't been moving too much because of, again, the high interest rates. If you guys are much like Gregopedia and I, we have 3.25 right now. We're not going to move off that. It's really preventing us from making any kind of moving decisions. We love our house, but refinance, moving decisions, we're just really not interested in doing that. It wouldn't make financial sense to do so. But who knows, if that interest rate gets a little different, maybe we'll have a different opinion. So let's see what we can expect overall from the real estate markets in 2025. I'm doing this reading on January 27th at 2:30 in the afternoon. Let's see overall, what do we get? The Star. We get not such a good future. Let's clarify this a little bit. 8 of Cups, 5 of Wands. They are going to be working very, very hard to get us to that fresh new beginning that the Fool is doing here. So I think we have some time. I'm thinking May, June, before we're going to see some movement on interest rates and the market for real estate. 2 of Swords, 6 of Cups. Finally, we're getting to some good things back in time. 6 of Cups is always going back in time. But we've got to make some hard decisions here about what we're doing, about what we're going to cut off, what we're going to move forward with. So do we see some changes by May, June. Yes, I do think we do. I think we get back to some more reasonable interest rates. I don't even know what the interest rate is today. So if you do, you can look it up down at below and pop it in the comments. So the effect of North Carolina, Florida, and Georgia, and California. I'm doing them separate because North Carolina did take a little bit of a bigger hit than Florida, Georgia. California, I think, trumps them all because that really was wholesale destruction. So let's look. North Carolina. 8 of Wands. They're going to be able to make some corrections. I did see in an earlier reading, I think it was Mixtape Monday or it was one of my lives, that they were going to have some issues getting supplies and things up into those mountains, but I think they're going to problem solve through it just fine. The cleanup is not as intense as what we're going to see in California. So let's look at Florida. Florida, Florida is an issue. The water damage that came in from the hurricane on the west coast of Florida, I think we've got some issues with insurance companies. Do we have to have somebody step in there and kind of regulate? 10 of Cups, I don't think we get that happening. So that will be to be determined. And then we have Georgia here. Georgia, again, I think North Carolina really needs the help more so than Georgia and Florida, or at least that's the determination. That's not my opinion. That's the determination of the powers that be. They're really going to push to those people in North Carolina, whereas they have homes that are utterly destroyed and completely destroyed. Florida and Georgia have more homes that are repairable, if that makes sense, and still livable. So is it uncomfortable? Is it terrible for the people in Florida and Georgia? Absolutely. And I don't even have South Carolina on this. I'm sorry, guys. So this, I think, this is taking precedence. So if in the southeast of the United States, North Carolina is taking precedence. California, let's see how the effects are there. And King of Swords, it's wholesale. Like it is, the homes are just razed to the ground. So, that is going. So really, I think we're going to see a lot of attention, as we've seen from President Trump, in North Carolina and in California. So let's see the effects of the devastation on the macro real estate industry. Is North Carolina going to affect the real estate? Still to be determined with North Carolina. Still to be determined. How about Florida? Florida, not so much. Georgia, nah, not so much. We're gonna see. I think some building is more so in Georgia. I think we're gonna see more constructions going up, independent of the damage that has been done. So I'm not sure. Georgia's a little bit weird. We'll come back to that. California, holding fast. Really taking a close look at the effects of what's going on. So are we going to stand back and kind of reassess in the macro? Yes. And I think they're doing that already with making considerations about permitting, regulations, those kinds of things. So the 9 of Wands, we really are, after the battle, standing back, waiting for the conclusion of the war or the determination of the war. At this point, we really do have to stand back. Look at her. She's up on the thing. She's taking a very high perspective of what is happening. So I do think we're watching. So what is our first and second quarter of the real estate market going to look like? First and second quarter. This is our first quarter. Building. Watching patiently. Favorable. And 2 of Pentacles. So is real estate a good investment in the first quarter? I would say yes, but it's not going to be buying properties and flipping them or anything like that. It's going to be investing in individuals that need housing, those sorts of things. So I do think the temporary housing becomes a boon. The prefab houses that we see on Amazon and through other box and catalog services, I think are going to be a big deal. Now, Elon Musk a few months back, or a couple of years back, was living in one of those pod houses on either Tesla or his Starlink property. He had a cool little pod house that he was living in, and I think that those are going to, yes, a pod house. Hi, Gregopedia is here.
The pod person.
Pod person. So I do think that those are going to be things to invest in the temporary. So again, I'm not an investment person, but I do think that we're going to see those kinds of things that are going out. So is the federal government going to be issuing some of these pod houses, maybe buying them? They run, I think, about $15,000-$20,000, but you set them down, you fold them out, and you've got a little living quarter. I think that those kinds of things are going to be very, very interesting to look at. I think people will be reluctant to get into them because they're like, well, I don't want to get into this and then, be stuck with it. But I think the pitch will be, you'll have a second living quarter on your property. We can kind of hook this up and, give you a place to live while we rebuild your 3, 4, 5 bedroom home. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So that's what I see. It's going to have mixed reviews, but the investment in this is going to be very, very interesting. It is, I do think government investing in these, affected areas. I think they're really going to. North Carolina, I think it's a little trickier to get these pod houses up there. California, I think it's a tougher sell because it's not luxurious living, but it is a resolution for some families. So I think first quarter, we're going to see some interest in that. Maybe some, maybe some of the companies are going to make like prefab, so you can kind of like cobble them together. And maybe some people will use those as add-ons, as an additional kids room, playroom, office space, those kinds of things. I know at the beginning of the pandemic, that was something that Greg and I looked into because I was sent to work from home. And as you all know, I have invaded his man cave. I am down here now full-time in his man cave, driving him nuts.
Your section has gotten a lot larger over the years.
It has not.
Yes, it has.
It is barely larger. I had like 6 feet at one point. The studio isn't, the studio A is not my part. That's just,
okay.
Yeah, that's not my part.
I wasn't considering that as part of it.
I think you were.
No.
Studio A is behind me. I'm going to be doing more and more behind the scenes stuff at your guys' request. You've all requested it. So I will show you Studio A that is behind the partition, which is kind of like the, it's the green room, right?
But it's not green.
It's not green, but it's the green room. So it's a nice little space, but we still have to do a few things, and we have a leak that we're trying to resolve. So part of the wall is not there. So it doesn't look perfect, but nothing's perfect. All right. So second quarter, let's see what we got. The devil. You're the devil in disguise. Oh, yes, you are. Devil in disguise. People are going to be very, very difficult about this. And if you like that devil card, you will see in my Teaspoon of Tarot, I'm doing a new short series. It's going to be a little bit of teaching tarot. I used to do Taste of Tarot, but now we're going to do Teaspoon of Tarot on shorts. And the devil, this devil's food cake was featured this week. So enjoy. King of Pentacles. There, 10 of Pentacles. That's what we want to see. Boom, shakalaka. So guys, second quarter of the year, what we're looking at is people are digging their heels in. They're not going to want to move forward with any kind of newfangled plans, whether it's a pod house or doing something different with investments. But eventually we're going to come along in that second quarter. We're going to be showing people to look at the happy side of things. Is there going to be complaints about not being in a home with that 4 of Wands in reverse, Justice in reverse? Yes, we're going to have complainers, but the overall optimism of the market is going to be good. Building is good. You have to look at things. I mean, those homes in LA, that Pacific Palisades, I knew a lot of people that had homes in there. The neighborhood is just razed to the ground. It's horrifying what we're seeing. And I can't even imagine imagine what it looks like in person. So this optimism of we're going to rebuild, we will be rebuilding. The King of Pentacles rules over all. I want you guys to remember that in the tarot, pentacles are concrete things, real estate, money, investments, artwork, things like that. It's tangible things that we work with, things of value, things that make the world go round. And this is really getting in. The 10 of Pentacles, you can see we are absolutely rebuilding. There is no smoke being blown up anybody's butt on this one. No one is blowing anything out there.
I'm gonna blow Uncle Roman out my ass.
Not Uncle Roman, even. Name that movie if you know it. So go find yourself a spin cycle. So, this looks favorable in terms of the powers that be investing into the restoration and stabilization of the real estate injury. So I do think that we do have government playing in here. I'm sorry, guys. I know some people don't like it. I'm a libertarian. I like small government, but this looks like they are going to be supporting and propping it up. In fact, I talked to my parents today, and I was picking my dad's brain because my dad's a really smart guy, and I was picking his brain about what he thinks is going to happen there, how they're going to make correction there. And my mom was on, I'm on the call as well, and she chimed in and she goes, "Oh, definitely, government's going to jump in there and they're going to kind of save the day," which is not what any libertarian wants to hear. But I'm sure that people that live in the affected areas are going to want to have some kind of infusion of finances and support so that they can get to this happy day with the Page of Cups. So initially, like I said, they're going to want things to stay the same way. There are going to be people that it's very, very hard for them to look at the glass as being half full. And when they're not seeing things being done, properties aren't being cleaned up. So they're going to, be talking about things that they've lost that are irreplaceable. We're talking pets, we're talking photos, keepsakes, things like that. Someone's wedding dress that's in the closet. I'm going to say pets again, because we do know that there are a lot of pets that were lost in this. So in all of the tragedies, not just the California wildfire. So I think, infusing with money, some people are going to go back to the things that they lost that are, irreplaceable. So what's our third quarter look like? Third quarter, we're going to make, third quarter. Yes. Third quarter. My notes are wrong. I have notes here. Third quarter. So I'm saying that second quarter is going to look strong for real estate investment, also for getting into any kind of real estate development. I think that that's going to be something that's going to be very interesting. What does our third quarter look like? 10 of Swords. I think we hit some snags here, kids. 6 of Wands. Yeah, we're going to hit some snags. Page of Pentacles. Back to the beginning. Queen of Swords. 7 of Cups. There's going to be some kind of drama. We're going to see a slowdown in that third quarter. What is third quarter? July, August, September. What is the problem? We want to make money. We want to make sure that we get things going. I think this is where we start to possibly have too much going on in the system. We have too many different choices with that 10 of Swords. We've got too many options, too many cooks in the kitchen. So I think possibly this is over management, not investment. We need more investment. We're going to be asking people to do that, getting rid of some of these thinkers and trying to clear out the muckety muck on that. Is there a larger 3 of Swords, Ace of Wands, 10 of Cups? Yes, something is preventing, and I'm not sure what this 3 of Swords is. Something is going to prevent this development. When we get into the third quarter, I don't know if that's going to be weather. If it's July, August, September, we may see another hurricane. That's the threshold to hurricane season again. So maybe we'll see some other weather events. Feels a little bit more southeast than it does feel California. So I think we see a little bit of a monkey wrench here, something that slows us down. Is it resources and supplies? Is that the issue? Five of Swords, again, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Too many cooks in the kitchen, not enough capital. So we're going to have to look for more capital at that point. Just really digging into that third quarter. Is this a housing crisis? Is it inventory? Housing crisis, inventory. Housing crisis, inventory. No, this is about getting people restored back to their properties, making them whole again, which is really what insurance is all about. Do we have issues with the insurance industry? And that's why it's affecting housing, real estate, and the market in general. Is insurance a holdup? Is insurance a holdup? Yes, insurance is going to be a holdup. Three of Swords. The insurance industry is going to take a hit as a result of this. So, insurance, just to give you a little insurance 101. We have a couple of different markets. We have the admitted and non-admitted markets. Admitted markets are backed by the state guarantee funds, and non-admitted is not. Those are sometimes private risk speculators and those sorts of things. So Lloyd's of London is one of the best examples of this. Lloyd's of London, celebrities want to have their lips, their hips, their legs, anything like that insured. It's a vanity product. They will go to Lloyd's of London, and there's some person who has money falling out of their pockets that goes, yeah, I want to invest in so-and-so's lips for $1 million. And there's always a rumor about somebody who does that. It's like, it makes them seem more important. It's a great PR thing. But basically, it's someone who writes a policy for $1 million, $5 million, $1 billion, whatever it is. They charge a premium for it. In the event that something happens to said celebrity's lips or legs or hips or whatever, they will pay out on that. The risk factor really is eclipsed by the bragging rights on that in a lot of cases. So, but in any sense, if you have a very, very risky home, say you have a home that is built on stilts on the beach in one of the hurricane prone areas, it's very difficult to get insurance on that because the likelihood of your home being destroyed by a storm or something like that is there. So a lot of standard insurance companies will not take it because the premiums they have to charge you eclipse the reasonability of that payment. So a lot of individuals will go over to a speculative market, a non-admitted market. So this is way more than you want to know about insurance on a tarot reading anyway. But so I think we run into some issues because we do have standard insurance policies. Flood policies are federal. Here in the United States, federal government writes all the flood policies. So I do think that we run into some issues with the insurance companies. So do insurance companies need a bailout possibly by this third term? I think some of them might. I think we may need to keep them flush because I do think that the payouts are going to eclipse what they have taken in premium. The general equation for insurance companies is they want to take more premium than they pay out. And that's why the underwriting process is so rigorous, because they want to make sure that you are a good risk, that it is unlikely that you are going to have a loss. So it's unlikely that they're going to have to pay out anything to you. So there you go.
Content you got there.
What's that?
Talk about insurance.
I know, it's exciting.
It's so exciting.
Insurance is exciting.
I was riveted the whole time talking about how insurance works.
Some people don't know how it works.
Well, now they do.
Now they do. So now they know the difference between admitted and non-admitted markets. See, I tell you guys all the time, I used to be an insurance broker. I know what I'm talking about.
Just like all the Harry and Meghan shenanigans, everything they just learned about insurance wasn't voluntary.
Not nice. Go to work. Fourth quarter. Let's see how fourth quarter is going to be. So I am predicting third quarter, we may see some wiggliness because of insurance, because we may not be able to get those payouts. We may not be able to get made whole as quickly as possible. So we may see insurance companies that are going to need a little bit of assistance there from federal government, state guarantee funds, those kinds of things. So hopefully that will not be a disaster. Fourth quarter. Let's see how we finish up the year. Real estate. Let's go. Knight of Cups, we are loving life, guys. Temperance, we're getting some balance. We're regaining some control. The Seven of Pentacles, I think, is going to be an interesting thing. Judgment in reverse. Eight of Wands, we're going to go nice and slow. The Nine of Wands and the Knight of Swords. So I do think we are going to see some turnaround in terms of people getting back in their homes. It is going to be a little bit slow. We have slow here. We have slow here with the Nine of Wands and the Eight of Wands in reverse. We do see completion not yet getting there. So here, Seven of Pentacles and Judgment. This is looking back on how we've done things in the past. We will need to address those a little bit differently as we move into the future in the real estate industry, and as far as protection for these properties. Knight of Swords here. Some things are going to be a loss that we did not expect to be a loss. So are there homes that are going to have to sit and wait for insurance responses? Yes. Do they become a loss in the end? Yeah, I think so. And I think that there's going to be some corrective measures too by the government and the insurance companies in order to kind of right that. So we'll have to see what happens here. We did see the same thing after Hurricane Sandy here in New Jersey. I was one of the people that was affected by Hurricane Sandy. My house had 6 feet of water in it. It was very deep. But fortunately, my ex was able to make corrections and save the house altogether. It was not a loss. But I will tell you, Union Beach, which is not far from where I am here, looked like someone just scooped it out. Like they just scooped out a whole section of houses. They were just gone. Seabright, New Jersey, that's actually a pretty famous place. They were using snow plows to get the sand out of the way. My former home was just like about 1.5 miles up from Seabright. And there was about 1 foot of sand in our roadways. I drove back to the house on sand instead of the roadway. It was quite something. But I think that I know some of those houses that were affected by the Hurricane Sandy, did have to wait because there were so many houses that were affected. I think we're going to see the same thing, more so in the North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina area. We're going to have to wait on some of those houses, and they will become a total loss because of the waiting to get restoration in there. So we may see more and more payout. But as awful as that will be for the people that are affected, I do think that it becomes a boon to construction, reconstruction, those kinds of things. So, so the real estate market overall, I do think is going to ebb and flow all year long. I think it is going to be wild. So how is inventory over the whole year? Inventory will be Ace of Swords, building. We're going to see people building. How about pricing? Queen of Swords, pricing. Queen of Swords in reverse is slashing pricing. So do we see homes devaluing? I'm wondering if we see existing homes devaluing. King of Pentacles, yeah, I think we are going to see that. I think we'll see some prices drop. And this was something in 2008 that we saw. We saw prices plummet after all of the subprime mortgages kind of failed. I hate to say that. Not all of them failed. Some of them failed, but we did see home prices plummet. I was selling a farm property 2008, right after I had my son, and took quite a beating on it. So I own that property with my dad, and we took a hit on it because it just wasn't moving. We were getting some really low ball prices, and finally we got one, and we were like, we just got to get out. So did so. It was unfortunate. It was a great piece of property. Gregopedia would have left it. But I think we're going to see some pricing drop, which is great for new buyers. Is it going to be great for these millennials who are like, gee, mom, I'm never going to own a house? Is it going to be good for millennials? King of Pentacles, they don't have the money. Ace of Wands, we're going to come up with something creative so that they can get into houses. So millennials, if you're listening, you're going to be able to buy a house probably in the next year or two. So save some money, buckle up, try and get on board for that. How about those interest rates? What are are we going to see in terms of interest rates? And sloppy shuffle for your entertainment, guys. It's always a good week when I have a sloppy shuffle. So what are we seeing? Interest rates. How are interest rates going to be throughout the year? Page of Wands. They are going to be volatile. So I think we get volatile, then building to an extent where we get to a nice stabilized thing. The Magician, it's still going to be that hard rule where like you get a good interest rate if you've got good credit, if you've behaved, if you've done the right things. And then I think by the end of the year, we see some difficulty with, or I shouldn't say difficulty, some change. With this tower, I see them kind of coming down. So prediction, do we see interest rates drop at the end of the year? I think we might. I think this tower may be a very positive thing. So that's what I think. So, I think we do see, how about buying? Are people buying? Are they going to be buying? Single family homes first. King of Pentacles, people don't have money. Queen of Swords, they're going to see it as an impossibility. Tower, they're going to be imagining that it's not for them, but the Magician will step in, and the Magician can do anything. Anything goes. What does it take to get you into this new washer? I love the Magician in this deck because he is a used car salesman, appliance salesman. He's a great guy. So I think by the end of the year, they make it very, very exciting for people. So what about speculators and investors, people that want to buy rental properties, those kinds of things? First thing, I do think that rental properties are taking a beating right now in terms of maintenance because of the furlough on evictions during the pandemic. I think that we've seen, when you don't get those rents, and a lot of people didn't come back with those rents after the pandemic, I think what we wind up seeing is some of those properties are not being maintained to the extent that they should have been. So let's see how the landlord market is. Queen of Cups, you guys are starting out strong. Knight of Wands, Two of Wands, Nine of Swords. Doesn't look good for those investors that are going to be jumping into rental properties. Again, what are our problems here? Problems, High Priestess, not take it. Three of Wands. Things are not being taken care of the way that I just said. So I think that's going to be interesting for real estate investors. So if you are looking to buy rental properties, things that you can secure rents on, just be a little bit careful. Make sure you get a building that has been maintained well. Bring that home inspector with you and make sure they go from soup to nuts through the building. So I think we've got a very interesting year. Again, I want to let you guys know I am not a real estate agent and a speculator. This is my own psychic view. I want you guys to do your best, do your own research, talk to your professionals. Who knows? Anything could change at any given time, but this is what I see. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think is going to happen. I'm real curious. I'm going to keep picking my dad's brain on this and my mom's brain and see what they have to think. I have a lot of clients that are real estate agents, so I'm going to be talking to some of them. Amanda, I'm looking at you. So Amanda, you're my fave. So I will see you guys in the next video. Again, if you want your own magical reading, if you want me to help you find a house psychically, book a reading down below. I will see you all in the future. Bye-bye.